there. So this session is kind of almost broken into two different pieces. The first piece is going to be our own Adam Bickford and Todd Blees talking about our website and the different tools that we've created on our system. And then we'll have a second segment with Kimberly Davis with the U.S. Census Bureau talking about some of the tools that the Census Bureau has available. And depending on timing, we're going to break the Q&A either before Kimberly or after Kimberly or both. With that, I would like Todd and Adam to come on.
This is our webpage, and over the past year, we've redesigned the entire page to help improve the organization of the data resources and help people get to things. So we're going to walk through a little bit of the layout of this page before sending things on to Todd, who's going to talk about some mapping. The first thing that you'll see here in the main panel is a set of general tables that provide top-level information about Colorado and every county in Colorado. And when you choose a county, you'll see that these tables will update. In the tables that are provided by our office, population, race and ethnicity, age, components of change, housing, these links will take you to the source information that we have so that you can expand or contract your data selections as necessary, customize them. In these tables that link to the American Community Survey, not only do you get to data.census.gov, which is the overall data census and ACS data resource, but if you click on one of the links here, you will go to a specific table for the specific county in the most current ACS year that will give you this information that you need. And then, of course, you can expand your selection by changing the geographies that you select with state, county, various geographies that you can select. So this gives you a straightforward access to census data as well as the data that we provide. We have basically two sources of data. As I mentioned, the estimates and forecasts that we produce and all the components, population, birth, death, migration, housing, economy, and jobs. And then additionally, there are resources from the Census Bureau. One thing that Todd's going to talk about is this story map, which is a great place for everyone to go to if you want a general overview of population and population trends. Additionally, if you're interested in particular geographies, types of geographies, we have buttons here that will take you to menus for those geographies. Within each of these sections, we have things organized in exactly the same way. We have maps and visualizations. We have spreadsheets that will give you the entire set of data for all of a particular geography. And then we have these data lookup pages that will allow you to create customized tables. And then finally, in many cases, we will have methodological documents and other background information that you need. Here, under the population section, you will see a series of maps, different visualizations that we have created and some of the slides that you've seen earlier today, the age animation, for example. This shows you population for, by age for the entire series going from 1990 out to 2021. One more, just a sec. Okay. Now, for many of our visualizations, we have customized to provide access to data sources, to specific data tables, and also to visualizations. For example, this is the population demographic dashboard, which is some very, very general information about population estimates, forecasts, components of change, and population by age, and population by age currently, and also a forecast table. Now, most of our applications are arranged vertically so that when you see something, if you don't see what you want, it's likely going to be there, but you just need to scroll down. As we get moving forward this coming year, we're going to be improving our navigation for these tools. In many cases, you will be able to select either individual counties, or you'll be able to select regions, which are collections of counties. Here you see an entire list of all of the geographic regions that Nancy and Cindy talked about earlier today, plus all the specific Colorado planning and management regions that DOLA uses, and specific census regions, and then some special regions focused with Denver. When you choose a region, you are able to drill down to the counties within that region. So you'll be able to look at the information that you need. And then all of these charts have a mouse over function that will give you specific data points if you want to look at that. Finally, we have this icon here, which is our download button. You have the ability to download the tables, the data sources for a particular display. You can download the display itself, and you can then get to the source information lookup page. We give you the ability to download charts. These charts are designed to fit in a standard Word document, and they will also fit in a PowerPoint presentation. So you can add these, these images to your materials and your reports as you need them. Let me go back here. So one more thing about some of our census data. We have visualizations and maps. Here we've got access to our census API, which Todd talked about last year, various interactive maps based on the 2020 census, and also based on the current American Community Survey 5-year data. We also have the historical maps that you can use, so you can access those. Additionally, we have a lot of information from the Census Bureau itself, including if you're going to be using the American Community Survey data, we have a lot of technical documentation here. We encourage everyone to take a look at the ACS handbook to, make sure that you use this information properly. In terms of spreadsheets, we have a set of spreadsheets and maps from the decennial census, currently the 94-171 data, which is the only data that's been currently released. And when additional data is released, we will be expanding this list. And also for the American Community Survey, we have a list of spreadsheets that's fairly standardized that is output every year, that has got specific tables, specific information for geographies, primarily for counties and for municipalities of places. The last thing I want to talk about is that we have the materials that are down here in these panels. First of all of our publications, the census, the summit information page, I'm sure you've all been on it today. You can get to it here. This is where we will have our summit evaluation published in a bit, and you'll be able to complete that and apply for continuing education credits. We have specialized data resources here, for particular organizations, and we also have our link to the Colorado Demographic Profiles tool. We will return to that in a second. Todd, are you ready, Rock?
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah, give me the screen. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some of the GIS resources on here. With the redevelopment of the website, we've also redeveloped the GIS pages. So basically all the data is available now in one location. So on the GIS data and resources tab over to the left, I'm actually going to start from the bottom just because the top tab is probably the most interesting one. So I want to do that one last. So down here we have some links to where you can find GIS data from other resources. State of Colorado Information Marketplace. That's basically where they collect all the data GIS data that the different organizations within the state of Colorado produce. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environmental Open Data Portal, that's a great resource if you want to find any health and environmental data. The CDPHE, they do a great job with their GIS data. Over on the right, we have the census geographic data. So if you want any basic census data that is in the shapefile form, say you want census tracts, places, counties, that's a place to go for that. The Denver Regional Council of Governments data catalog, that's great if you want anything in the metro area. They do a great job there. And then finally, the National Historic GIS. If you ever want anything that's basically older than 2000 as far as census data, that's the place I always go. They have all the shape files going back as far as the census has created them. Plus they have a lot of the census data going back basically as far back as the census has created it. So even stuff going back into the 1800s. The next tab up here is thematic maps. So this is basically where you're going to go if you want to find any sort of maps. They're just a static snapshot, either in PDF form or PNG format. On the left, it's going to be all the Census 2020 maps that we've created, as well as the ACS maps. The ACS maps will get updated with each release of the ACS. And we'll be adding more Census 2020 maps as soon as the new data is released sometime next year. And then on the right is a little bit more of a mixed bag. A lot of it is created from our own forecasts and estimates. And then we also have some migration data from the Census Bureau. And as Nancy said earlier, that's only up to 2019 at the current time. And these get updated regularly with the new data as well. So saying 2020 right now, but with the new data that we've just put out in the last week or so, we'll be updating these maps here very soon. And then the next tab is our GIS shapefiles and downloads. So this is a pretty mixed bag. Over on the left, we have the boundaries. So we have the municipal boundaries that we collect from, we gather these from all the cities and try to keep it up to date as best we can. All the annexations they've done. And then kind of a boundary annexation hybrid, which shows you the actual boundaries plus where the annexations are within the boundaries. And then the regional data, these are a mixed bag of both the field regions, the planning regions, and then all the special districts that we collect. So the Title 32 special districts are required to be submitted to the state. And once we get those, we add those to a database and we create the shapefiles for all these. We have actually updated some of these with resources beyond that. The library districts, for instance, I spent a lot of time working with the state library and gathering all those districts and getting that one should be about as up to date as possible at this point. Water sanitation, similar work on that, and fire protection districts. Metropolitan districts, that one's a little bit more hit and miss. You have 2,000 some you have 2,000 some overall districts, and then you have over 1,000 metropolitan districts. So it gets to be a bit messy with trying to keep all those recorded and current, but we do the best we can on that. Below that, we have some of the census shapefiles. So counties, places, tracts, block groups, and blocks for the most recent. And we also include some of the basic demographic data with that. So you'll see information on race, ethnicity, poverty, income, that type of data. And then on the right, we have some information on grants that DOLA has released. And then some information on Colorado Main Street communities and HUD low and moderate income data. And finally, we have the interactive web maps and data visualizations. So just about every one of the visualizations you see in the other tabs on the left, you're going to find in basically all at one spot here. And I'm not going to go through most of these because I have shown these in previous years, but I do want to highlight a couple of them. The first one is the IRS migration map that Nancy spoke about earlier. So this is migration data that's actually collected from the IRS. And it's the most recent data is from 2020. And this is basically a series of 9 maps that is showing the IRS data as far as state to state with regards to migrants coming into and out of Colorado. The first one is just simply the net migration. So the number of people coming in and out of a state. The blue states are the ones that had a net migration out of Colorado, and the orange, red, and yellow had a net migration in from Colorado. And we also, if you also just want to see the number of migrants coming into the state from other states, the second map will show you that. And you can see, of course, Texas, California, and Florida have the most migrants into Colorado. And that's really basically a result of the population. Those have the largest population, they have the most. And you have the upper Midwest, Rockies that have lower populations, they have lower numbers coming in. So nothing too surprising there. And then you can also see the migrants out of Colorado. And again, the ones with the highest population have received the highest migrants from Colorado. Then there's also 3 other categories over here. We have the net tax returns. So this is rather than the individuals, they're within the IRS information. You're actually going to have the total number. You're just going to have the actual returns. So it's just going to be 1 tax return per household in most cases. Like for instance, a married couple would submit 1 return. So instead of having a family of 6 all counting in the individuals, you're going to just have a number of 1 counting for tax returns. And then we have similar data for the net adjusted gross income. So this is actually looking at the actual dollars on the tax returns rather than the people that are on them. And again, we have the net, the in, and the out. And on any of these maps, you can click on one of the states and it'll give you all the information for that state as far as their population, the number coming into and out of, the net returns, the AGI. Now, I'm going to go back and we're going to look at that Colorado demographic story map that Adam referred to earlier. So you can either access it here or you can access it right off the home page. Both links will go to the same area. So basically, this is an online version of one of our presentations. This gives you a very basic information about Colorado, about population, about the demographics, forecasts, housing. If you ever go to listen to one of our presentations, a lot of it is going to be what you see here. So it starts out with population change, get some text about it and graphs, and you just keep scrolling down. Some more data there. You've seen a lot of these maps already, or a lot of these graphs already today. You can also skip ahead to a section by clicking on one of these links up here. So you want change by county. This one actually has maps on it, and you can interact with maps a little bit. Basically, it's just very basic pop-ups on the maps. And more of this data, population estimates. We have the population forecast, age. And this one actually gives you an indication of how many people under 18 there are in the states and how that has grown between 2010 2020. Housing and race and ethnicity. And then for more information, of course, come to our website and you'll get more information. I do want to give you a caveat that this data is actually not using the data that we use today. This is going to be updated in the next month or so, and we'll let everyone know when the data is updated in our newsletter. And also one other thing I want to point out, on each of these graphs and maps, we have a little eye up here if you want to get the source of the information. And that covers my part, and I will return it back to Adam.
All right, thanks, Todd. So one thing we want to highlight, just the last bit of this, is that we are still, our website is still a work in progress. In the coming year, we are going to be doing a couple of major renovations. First of all, we will be completing the revision of the Colorado Demographic Profiles application. We talked about this last year, how we were going to expand that application and redesign it so that graphically it has the functionality that the other visualizations on our website has. We expect that our current plan is to roll this new application out about the same time that we did with the main website last year, which was about March. Additionally, we're going to be redesigning the data lookup pages to keep the same functionality, but also to make the look and feel more consistent with the website. Plus, we're going to entertain any ideas that you all have. We're very serious about this. We spend a lot of time working very closely with our users, trying to make sure that they have the information that they need to do their work. We would love to talk to you about applications you want to see, about sources that you want to see included into this website, and how we can make this a more useful place for you to work and to use the resources that we have available to you all.